How do you go from this?
The fact is that suing Coffeezilla is not going to help CryptoZoo holders, so I do need to focus my attention where it should be, which is on fans and supporters of me.
To headlines like this. How do you go from a guy thanking a guy for exposing him to then suing him for defamation?
Rather than pay back his victims fully, Logan would rather publicly humiliate himself in court by accusing me of defaming him.
That's something only YouTubers could do. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my whole life. How is that possible? Why are we here? What is going on right now? Why is this happening? I don't like this. This is stupid. There's also a building being built literally right outside my garage door. So it's just like one of those things. We're about 2 years on now from the original CryptoZoo situation.
How much did you guys make from CryptoZoo?
I lost around $50,000 in CryptoZoo.
I lost $40,000.
I lost around $15,000 US.
I lost $25,000.
Quite frankly, I didn't think it could get any worse, and Logan Paul has found a way to make it worse for himself and everyone else. Like, I don't understand why anybody who's on the internet who has products and stuff, they shouldn't listen to like corporate chads about, yeah, just sue him. Just sue him, it'll go away.
He's hired 5 lawyers to sue me, which he hopes will stop me from exposing him again.
Earnestly apologizing is better than actually following through. For example, paying back all the victims of CryptoZoo. Not sure if he's done that yet. Probably hasn't. Haven't seen anything about it. The biggest news has been him suing Coffeezilla now, so.
For the immense harm that he has caused to Paul's reputation through the intentional and reckless dissemination of defamatory falsehoods, well, then you have to prove that they're fake, right?
The dude loves proving us wrong. That is Logan Paul, aka the dad from The Incredibles. Once again, 2 years, a year and a half ago, however long it was, Coffeezilla uploaded his 3-part series about CryptoZoo, which is an NFT game that was founded by Logan Paul, and the project was infiltrated by 2 legitimate class acts. Eddie Ibanez, who lied about his entire career, and Jake Greenbaum, the Crypto King.
I'm actually very bullish on the market in the short term.
Anybody who calls themselves the Crypto King is probably a piece of trash.
Crypto fan, get ready to make America great again with MVP MAGA VP Coin, supporting the MAGA movement and Donald Trump's presidential campaign.
These 2 fellers were the true instruments in the failing of CryptoZoo. But Logan Paul had his name attached to it and marketed it, and it was his fans, his audience that fell for it.
For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project that I believe is going to change the game.
It makes sense that he would take the responsibility and take accountability for these 2 scammers, right? For ingratiating his business and himself with them. I don't even know if ingratiating is a word. On top of all that, it looks real bad. The game's marketing was to have fun and also earn money.
It's a game. It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
And then it led to a bunch of people losing money, a lot of money, millions of dollars. And then Logan first threatened to sue Coffeezilla for the trilogy that originally came out, and, you know, it was met with great backlash. He apologized, changed his tune.
Coffeezilla is not a criminal. I called him, I apologized. My initial response to his series was that of fire, an ego flare, whatever it is, pride. I'm a fighter at heart, and I was defensive because I know I never scammed anyone with this project. I never made any money, never sold any tokens, and I only had the best intentions going in. But the fact is that suing Coffeezilla is not going to help CryptoZoo holders.
And thank Coffeezilla for his investigation, because real, actual, legitimate journalism does exist on YouTube. I don't do it, and most other YouTubers don't do it, but people like Coffeezilla do it, okay? And it's really important to, like, help them whenever they're, you know, fighting a giant.
Coffeezilla, you're slimiest. He is a lopsided journalist with an agenda, more like an internet criminal.
Oops, wrong video. That was the first response. He actually apologized in another response.
It's like a little gnat. It's like a little annoying gnat. It bothers me. The defamation lawsuit, that is happening because this is wrong. This is wrong.
Hold on, wait a second. That's not it either. Turns out it's actually on his secondary channel. That's why I couldn't find it.
So Logan cannot make up his mind on what to do with Coffee. And this is probably because originally he tried to be sympathetic to Coffee and the criticisms raised, but Coffee didn't take his apology at face value and then kept following through.
There's still major problems here. Like, for example, many of the victims just have been ignored in this response. A lot of accusations have gone unanswered, and worse, Logan still seems to be playing the victim a lot. So in this video, I'm gonna do my best to give Logan credit where credit is absolutely due, while also sharing moments where I think this apology fell flat.
And made Logan look like a fool. You know, Logan has a lot of money. He could just pay everyone off. He could have just paid all the victims back immediately, whatever they were owed. It'd be difficult to determine that, but instead he sent this letter saying you can't sue me, which is pretty standard practice for like a big time business. But At the same time, it's like, man, why not just be the good guy? Why not just be the good guy and pay the people off? It wouldn't have been that hard, I feel like. I would have considered that to be a massive W, to just pay everybody off without all this shit, but anyways, Coffee made sure Logan stayed accountable with his 3-step plan that Logan outlined in his own video.
For one, Logan apologizes to me.
I called him, I apologized. My initial response to his series was that of fire and ego.
Not only that, Logan also pledges a $1.3 million refund plan for people who bought his NFTs.
I am personally committing 1,000 ETH to this, which is about $1.3 million.
In addition to that, he also promises to finish CryptoZoo, which was left abandoned.
And then step 3, obviously finish and deliver the game as outlined in the white paper.
And Coffee continued to be critical of Logan when the plan he'd outlined still wasn't executed on for a very long time.
Logan Paul has not paid back his victims. He hasn't talked about it since he first announced he was going to pay them back. And what's worst of all, he doesn't seem to have a plan in place to refund anyone.
And when a refund was finally offered, it was incredibly underwhelming, and even some considered it to be manipulating to those that did accept it.
Logan Paul is refunding people he scammed if they promise to stop suing him for the vastly larger amount he may owe them. And honestly, I'm conflicted because on the one hand, victims getting money is always great, and I'm proud that our investigation led to some real-world consequences. But I can't pretend that things are fixed or fine for people who entrusted me with their story when that's just not true.
We've already covered this. It's bad news, pretty much. We're gonna need some background music on this video to cover up the incessant beeping that's just outside that garage door.
Ay, su pinche madre, sacaron un granazo. Ay, güey, ¿dónde estoy o qué? What is happening?
Now on to the lawsuit that was filed by Mr. Paul. It was filed on June 27th, 2024 at 11:28 p.m. It's kind of a funny story as to how it was filed. We'll get into it though. In this lawsuit, Logan claims that he is suing Coffeezilla because of defamation and that he wants to hold Coffee accountable for his defamatory actions.
This lawsuit says Logan Paul wants to hold me accountable for my actions. But what actions are those? Holding him accountable?
The entire lawsuit stems from when Coffee made a few videos on Logan Paul calling him out for his CryptoZoo game, where Logan claimed players could make money.
It's a game. It's a game. It's a really fun game that makes you money.
But it has since been considered a scam by everyone who exists because the game took millions of dollars from fans and then they lost it all. And all the promises systemically from A to B were all false and didn't work, and it was shit, and it sucked, and it was terrible, and what the f are we even making this video? Why is this a thing? At the beginning of the lawsuit, Logan's lawyers claimed that Coffee is an internet detective with no real journalistic training, and that he used his CryptoZoo series to expose Logan Paul and profit off of Paul to just gain money and viewership. Additionally, they claim that Coffee knew that the videos he was putting out contained a malicious false narrative that had purposefully left out statements and other things to make Logan specifically look like a bad person. This seems nonsensical so far. The claims, in my opinion, are hilarious. To discredit someone with respected journalistic integrity online by just saying he has no official journalistic training is an absolute stretch. Let's look at Coffeezilla's top viewed videos, and let's look at just the New York Times today and see which one has more pull and impact and journalistic integrity. Just kidding, that is in the New York Times today, but that's just some funny articles that I decided to put in this video to prove a point further because I like Coffee and I have no journalistic integrity myself. It was meant to be a joke. It was meant to be a joke. It's sarcastic. Most of the things that I say are just not true. Furthermore, they also allege that Coffee was making these videos against Logan Paul for the sole purpose of gaining viewership, and that's it. That's the only reason, which I think we all know that that's not true. I mean, that doesn't seem true at all. Logan Paul is quite literally scam adjacent and has been ever since crypto became a thing or Pokemon cards became relevant again back during the height of COVID.
And by the time of my reporting in question, Logan Paul was already accused of participating in multiple crypto pump and dump schemes. That article does not reference my work. So Logan had already had a reputation as a scammer before my investigation, at least if you believe their allegations.
I would say objectively, Coffee is justified in investigating this type of stuff and saying the things that he said against Logan Paul. It should be Logan Paul's responsibility and accountability to take the things that have been claimed and then just systemically disprove them. But instead, he's suing him now. So it's like, why are you doing that? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? That makes zero sense. Now you look guilty because you're just suing this guy because you can't control him. And he's saying things that are true that everyone else agrees with. It's also funny in the lawsuit, they portray Logan as some kind of brand-friendly social media icon, and they describe him as a globally recognized entertainer, athlete, and entrepreneur, as if that somehow justifies the suicide forest, the crypto zoo, the liquid marketplace. I mean, there's so much shit that's just, he deserves to be shit on for, rightfully so, I would say. And I would like to believe that he seemed rational at some points. He would agree with that stuff. Like, it's, I don't know who, like, this whole lawyer thing and this lawsuit is just so much cognitive dissonance. I don't get it. And Logan does have Prime, which is difficult to not respect. That is a true phenomena. And I've made a video before defending Prime with the PFAS thing. Remember that thing that went viral on TikTok? And the guy was like, oh, it's got plastic in it and stuff. And it's like, no, actually it doesn't have plastic in it. It's got the same amount of plastic that pretty much all water has in it. And my balls are full of plastic. The lawsuit then goes on to say that Logan came up with the idea for Crypto Zoo because of the blossoming, newfangled blockchain technology and that it was going to be a success, but things went wrong when the team he hired to develop the game lied to him about their credentials and about paying the development team, and all that shit happened. Obviously, we know the situation. It's hard to believe, in my opinion, that Logan Paul was clueless to the work of his constituents. Some basic due diligence could have gone a long way. Like, I'm talking real basic. And that's coming from me, okay, guys? I got scammed. But my shit was from a nobody, all right? This is like famous crypto people you could have just asked for references with. I got a background check. And that shit passed. But I would like to take this opportunity to announce a new product, a new venture, if you will. Guys, I'm starting these things called timeshares. Basically, I'm buying a house on the beach, and all of you can invest in that house with me. All right, guys?
And that is why owning a piece of an Aspen condo is not only possible, it's downright smart.
I'm having, who's a famous scammer? Jordan Belfort. He's overseeing the whole operation.
I want you to understand, we don't do anything illegal whatsoever.
Yay! We'll all be rich together! Just kidding, but go to sour.gg and buy Little Guys. They're these gummies that we have that are really cool. They're awesome, and they're actually in stock, I think, permanently now. We should be able to have some every single day. So go buy some, and if you buy enough, we're gonna try to get them into Target or Walmart or H-E-B or something.
H-E-B these nuts.
But probably not, because we suck and we're failures. But go buy some. And there's a new flavor coming this Friday at 3 Central Standard Time. Every single week, 52 weeks, 52 flavors. Sometimes, unless something goes horribly wrong, which it tends to. So also join the Gump Club to see uncensored videos, etc., and support the channel. And when you join the Gump Club, you get free shipping on Sour Boys products with an order over 25 bucks. Nobody can compute that. That's crazy. And also we lose money on it. So it's kind of unfortunate, but oh well. At this point in time, it seems fairly clear that there's a lot of just negligence from Logan's perspective that he could easily take responsibility for, or he could just not and then sue people for saying that that is the case. I don't really know. What do you guys think down below? Comment down below your honest thoughts and opinions on this this video. So anyways, Coffee responded obviously to the lawsuit. Took him a while to get his thoughts collected, I assume, because this is sort of a big deal.
Logan Paul is suing me for CryptoZoo, only a year after he thanked me for it.
But he pointed out in his video that both the people mentioned in the lawsuit haven't been at the company in a long time, meaning that in recent years, everything surrounding CryptoZoo has been the result of just Logan Paul.
But remember, Jake and Eddie have been out of the picture for years, and yet CryptoZoo hasn't been released, despite Logan constantly promising it, and of course also threatening to sue me.
We're gonna handle this ourselves while we continue to build CryptoZoo, and I'll see you in court.
So the claim that both of his business partners were to blame for the failure of the project is just entirely false, starting at the point when Coffee exposed those two other evil people for being evil, and for Logan Paul for hiring them. Now it's just up to Logan Paul, and it's still a failure. It's still a giant failure, so he's probably not that good at programming the back end. I wouldn't imagine. That blockchain is pretty complicated. The next section of the lawsuit talks about Logan's claims that Coffee defamed him. In section 7 of Nature of the Action, Paul's lawyers claim that Coffee knew the fame he could get from defaming a celebrity to the caliber of Logan Paul, and that this is proven true because the series is his most viewed on his channel. So it's like, he's just doing it for viewership. That's it. He's not actually doing it because he wants crypto to not be full of scammers. It's because he's Yeah, I don't know. Additionally, the lawyers claim that Coffee knew that Logan's intentions were to never scam anyone, and that Coffee had personal messages confirming Paul's intentions, and that he was so frustrated by his coworkers that Logan couldn't properly handle the situation. So once again, just completely not taking any responsibility whatsoever for this. I mean, like, is there a worse way to do it? No, there's not a worse way to do it. In all honesty, I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't really know. I don't want to just like hate people for hating people. If Logan Paul turned a new leaf, I feel like I would be welcoming. I love a second chance. I think that's pretty cool. He's still doing extremely well. I mean, he's a WWE wrestler. I'm not even sure he knows that shit's fake. He's so good at it. What the Just own up to it. Don't sue people for calling you out on your obvious horse shit. So yeah, these claims are pretty much just saying Logan is overwhelmed and they turn him into a crying, screaming baby who's overwhelmed and stop, you know, screaming and crying because he can't. That's why CryptoZoo failed, because too much stimulation. He's stimming. I would say the private messages that the lawyers claim were between Logan and Coffee. I think it was under the pretense. I mean, it's fairly obvious that it was under the pretense that Logan would be a good person and fully refund those people who bought into his project. But as we know, that did not happen.
Logan may be a master at convincing people he's changed, but I'm convinced it's the follow-through where things go wrong. You know, the actually changing part. There was a time where even I believed Logan was going to fully refund victims. That's why I was so nice to him and tried to help despite him threatening to sue me. But when it came time to pay up, Logan chose a minority refund and to fight the rest of the victims in court who wanted their money.
I mean, quite literally, Logan Paul made an apology video to Coffeezilla that he put on his second channel, which is a huge L.
The fact is that suing Coffeezilla is not going to help CryptoZoo holders, so I do need to focus my attention where it should be, which is on fans and supporters of me.
Classic. Logan Paul. Full of L's. 2 L's, though. Guess what? W, guys. And guess what else? Broken clock is right twice a day. If it walks like a quack and it ducks like a...
And it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it.
Personally, I believe Coffeezilla is correct when he said that this lawsuit was to suppress new investigations while quieting down the older ones.
So this defamation lawsuit feels frivolous even on the surface. But if you dig deeper, there's an even more compelling story, which I personally believe, where the goal is to crush new investigations while taking revenge on old ones. In this version, Logan might not even care about winning. Legal battles are expensive, and in the world of money, he's got me beat. So he can try to silence me by weaponizing the law, he can sue me for doing my job, he can sue me for asking questions, and he can sue me for asking for refund.
The section ends with Logan's lawyers explaining that Logan did in fact do right by the people who bought into his project and gave everyone a refund. Coffee proves this to be false by showing that Logan only refunded a small portion of the investors.
Remember, there are 2 parts to CryptoZoo, the NFTs and the Zoo tokens, and Logan chose only to refund the NFTs, which is a minority of the losses, and I had a major problem with that. I told Logan this, I've stated over and over my opinion that it is disappointing for someone as rich as Logan to not make things fully right, and instead only pay back a small part of the losses while fighting the rest of the victims in court.
And as the lawsuit continues, his lawyers are making him look infallible by essentially saying that Logan was merciful to Coffee and decided not to sue long ago despite the clear defamation, which is just nonsensical. I don't really understand all this. Like, it's such a adversarial way to approach it. I mean, come on, guys. What the They're painting Coffee like he's some kind of crazed, money-hungry creator. He doesn't even take ads, bro. The guy doesn't even take ads, and he does shit on pay. Like, he's got actual integrity. It's very rare for a creator to have actual integrity. I'm excited to see how far this lawsuit goes. Though, to be honest, it seems like it's not going to go that far to me. They claimed of Coffee that he simply could not help himself from dipping back into the well that had proven so effective in earning him viewers and attention and revenue, and that is exposing Logan Paul. So it's just like anytime anyone famous does anything wrong, you aren't allowed to investigate it because a lot of people will care. That's what that's saying, essentially. That is insane. That does not make any sense to me. And I'm pretty stupid. So like, simple things generally make sense. From this point on, the lawsuit gets into the fine details, but this is essentially a summary of the case. And from what I can tell, Coffee seems entirely right that this lawsuit is just to try to keep him quiet. It's SLAPP. It's a SLAPP lawsuit or a SLAPP adjacent lawsuit.
SLAPP stands for Strategic Lawsuits Against Public Participation. These are lawsuits which utilize the legal system to intimidate, censor, silence, and harass critics or opponents.
It happens to people in this world who expose people for committing financial scams. Look at Rattle Pokemon. He's had, I think, a few, at least one for sure. Go follow him, by the way. I really don't know what the game plan is here. He's got to be aware that his reputation online is negative, and I assume he's trying his best to maintain a good image if he possibly can. I'm not sure.
This lawsuit is not about Logan Paul getting defamed. Instead, this is about him trying to dodge accountability, victims, and blame anyone but himself for his problems, especially me.
I don't know if he's using the lawsuit as justification for not taking, like, is he a sociopath, psychopath? For some reason, I don't believe he is. I feel like he's just surrounded by corporate chads who have a lot of money. I mean, he's got the WWE now and Prime. So it's like the standard status quo is to just sue people whenever they, you know, that's just like what money does. You can just sue people for anything, but that's not how you got to where you were and why people even related to you in the first place. Like that's not how that works. It doesn't work like that. It's not going to look good when you do that. It's going to end poorly. This will be unrecoverable. This is bad. This is really, really, really bad, in my opinion. Plus, his lawyers claiming numerous times that Logan was naive to the situation or that he was just overwhelmed, and therefore everything that resulted in the CryptoZoo failure was not his fault whatsoever. And I don't know, what are you saying? Are you saying he's a idiot and he has nothing to do with any of this? Then why did he apologize? And they're trying to prove the narrative that he's like a good, naive, overstimulated guy with a hint of autism by saying that he made it right by supplying refunds, but only to specific investors, and like not all the money that was lost was recouped. I mean, if you can't get everyone, why not take all the money and then just make like a charity and do some good with it and then make that super publicized? Just do that. That's way better. If you can't refund everyone and the people you are refunding, you're like, well, you also can't sue me and also Sugma Ligma. How about just like do some double good out of the bad? I mean, it's not that complicated. Overall, it's just a shit show. Coffee is able to entirely debunk this lawsuit within the first video.
His lawsuit shows comments calling Logan a scammer, possibly to suggest he's been hurt by my videos, but you have to have a reputation to lose one. And by the time of my reporting in question, Logan Paul was already accused of participating in multiple crypto pump and dump schemes.
And I'm very confident that Coffee's video will stand up fairly well in court. It was a really solid video and it makes a lot of sense and it covers all the logical points. And it has to have Logan a little bit nervous if he's even involved. Maybe he's naive to this and has no idea that his lawyers are suing content creators for exposing people for scamming people. A very interesting point speaking to why Logan couldn't successfully refund people and finish the game is that he blamed the government. Logan blamed the government for that. Government regulations.
For years, Logan has controlled CryptoZoo, and yet the game is still not out. Logan is now blaming the government for that instead of himself. And he also blames me for losing his good reputation, but you can't lose something you never had.
He is the guy who blames everyone but himself, even the government. He blamed the government, like Obama. He's like, thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama.
And that's not ironic. He did that. That's in the lawsuit. It's not. It's not, but it basically is. The only person who's ruined Logan Paul's reputation is Logan Paul, not Coffee. It's been Logan Paul, and that's it. From the beginning of time until now, it's been Logan Paul's choices, the people who he surrounded himself with, and the products that he's stood by that have turned out to be scams. Not looking into something, shining a light on something doesn't make it turn into something bad. It was already bad, and that light is like a virtue, and that's like the ethical thing to do, is to expose things that are bad. Even if people didn't know, Logan didn't know fully, that's a fine counter argument, but it's like, how many times can you do that before it just seems like you are so insanely naive that you shouldn't be involved in any of this stuff, and you especially shouldn't be suing people for doing right by the people who you are stealing from. Like, huh? So yeah, Logan's super naive and let's feel bad for him, and then Coffee's defaming him. But the timeline of the lawsuit and why and when it was filed, very interesting in my opinion. Coffee points this out in his video. This makes Logan look way worse. Coffee points out the timeline of the lawsuit and how suspicious it is.
Did you know 6 days before the lawsuit, I had featured Logan Paul in a teaser for a video? Did you know 21 hours before the lawsuit, I had texted Logan for comment? Did you know I told him he had 24 hours to respond, and Logan sued me 3 hours before the deadline? Yep, that's right. Logan's lawyers then threatened me in that lawsuit email that if I report on this new story, Logan might hold me accountable. And Logan's definition of accountability seems to mean he'll sue me, which is why I believe this lawsuit was not designed to win, but to shut me up, to threaten me, using Logan's wealth and a federal court system without anti-SLAPP to send a message. Do not tell that story.
He pointed out that 6 days before the lawsuit, he featured Logan in a video, and 3 hours before a 24-hour deadline that Logan was completely ignoring, he filed the lawsuit. It seems like Logan is just personally fed up with Coffee and decided that he wanted to finally silence him, and he's just going to throw as much money at this small problem as he possibly can, which is bizarre because Coffee points out how Logan has respect for him and his work, yet he still chooses to just sue him, which is like the antithesis of having respect for like ethical things and journalism and stuff like that. Like, why would you sue anybody? If you are right, if you are in the right, why do you need to sue someone? Just prove them wrong. Just prove them wrong. And then if people still hate you, it's because they're haters. Not because you can't sue haters into stopping. That's not how that works, dude. You're gonna get a lot more haters. Coffee's not a hater.
Logan's 5 lawyers tried to discredit me as a journalist. They paint me as someone who wanted money. They say I had a false and malicious narrative. But you know who doesn't believe that? You know who secretly praises me behind the scenes?
This journalist, YouTuber, crypto uncoverer guy named Coffeezilla, who's incredible, by the way. A very thorough, good-hearted, smart guy, did a deep dive into this project that I attempted to make called Crypto Zoo.
That's right, it's Logan Paul. He's the biggest enemy of Logan Paul's defamation case. Who knew? Because defamation requires actual malice and a reckless disregard for the truth. But he just admitted on camera that I am thorough and good-hearted.
So yes, Logan has now fallen to the tactic to try and drain Coffee's bank accounts to fight this lawsuit. Logan Paul is a two-faced coward, guys, who is scared of losing his fame and fortune and will go to any lengths to secure it. Seems like he's not, well, maybe he's not scared of losing his fame and fortune, but he's definitely doesn't know how to wield it ethically or morally correctly. It seems like, I don't know. I'm not one to judge, but I tell you what, I've never done anything like this. So I look at myself before I judge others, and like, this is just so bad and dumb. Like, how do you justify this? How do you justify this? Unless you're a lawyer, the lawyer would be like, yeah, we could do that. But they also defend murderers as well. So like, I wouldn't listen to a lawyer, generally speaking, or anyone who has corporate training. So a lot about this has already been exposed, and more I'm sure is gonna come out, but the true intentions of the lawsuit are of question a bit. So the lawsuit was filed about a month ago, and we've seen coverage from channels like Legal Eagle, who actually spoke to Coffee Stephen's lawyers, revealing that there was no way to file an anti-SLAPP motion on behalf of Stephen.
You would usually in most states at this point face an anti-SLAPP motion. That type of motion is not available in federal court in the Fifth Circuit in Texas. In this case, the federal court venue was chosen, and there seems to be no obvious reason for that except to avoid the anti-SLAPP motion.
An anti-SLAPP would make things very easy for Stephen because it's an avenue that would allow him to just get out of it and, you know, slam dunk the lawsuit before. But there's legal ways to prevent a SLAPP. The same exact thing happened to Rattle Pokemon, and Logan Paul's lawsuit is 100% a SLAPP lawsuit, which stands for Strategic Lawsuit Against Public Participation. It's a fancy way of saying, hey, I don't want you to talk anymore. I want to intimidate you, and I want to prevent you from participating in public discourse.
Attention corporate America. Have you had it up to here with people speaking out against your corporation? Protesters, activists, journalists, any entitled citizen at all can criticize your corporation. The solution? SLAPP lawsuits, which is really just a fancy way of saying shut them up in court.
Anyone who files a SLAPP lawsuit is a idiot, in my opinion. Anti-SLAPP laws make it easier for someone who has been sued for exercising their First Amendment rights to get that lawsuit dismissed quickly. And these laws put the burden on the person actually suing and accelerate final decisions, but Logan Paul has filed the lawsuit where there isn't an avenue that's open to Stephen and his team. There's not anti-SLAPP laws in every single state and every single jurisdiction, which is very unfortunate. Should be federal. Constitutional. So yeah, guys, this just adds to it. Logan is very disturbing. His behavior is incredibly disturbing. I don't know how naive and overstimulated he is in regard to the lawsuit stuff, but by God, if he's got any hand in this. What modicum of respect I may have had for him for, you know, doing the WWE stuff and becoming this guy and having this cool product Prime and, you know, being like a legend in a lot of different senses, 90% of that is bad. At this point, this is like takes the other 10% and just makes him look like a idiot. He's essentially trying to strip a man of his First Amendment rights. And as a pretty vocal follower of the Constitution, it's like, how do you get any worse? Firstly, you can't take criticism. You surround yourself with idiots. You pretend to be an infant and that you are naive and overstimulated and you cannot, that's why your life is falling apart and you continuously fail and steal money from people accidentally. And then when all those excuses fail, you take away someone's First Amendment rights. That's dumb, dude. It's the amendment, by the way, if you don't know, if you're not an American, that protects free speech and guarantees freedom of the press. It's kind of like part of the whole checks and balances thing that's supposed to make America awesome and cool, but like, you know, doesn't always, because you can also just sue people and there's ways around. It's so dumb. And by the way, we know Logan thinks of Steven as a journalist and as the press because he called Steven a journalist in that video. So
this journalist, YouTuber, crypto uncoverer guy named Coffeezilla, who's incredible, by the way, a very thorough, good-hearted, smart guy, did a deep dive into this project that I attempted to make called Crypto
That's right, it's Logan Paul. He's the biggest enemy of Logan Paul's defamation case. Who knew?
So yeah, at the end of the day, it looks less and less like it's about seeking justice, and it's looking like it's just trying to limit investigative reach to silence him from doing other stuff. I'm not sure. I mean, Logan says he's incredible, dude, and he's a journalist, etc. Steven is thorough, and maybe it's the fact that Steven has been investigating the rumors of potential wrongdoing at Liquid Marketplace, a company co-founded by Logan that we've talked about before. He came up with the idea of allowing people to co-own the card through his new crypto site, Liquid Market. Now, a website like this where people are wheeling and dealing percents of a percent of a piece of paper, literally trading shares of cards that are paper, you need a bang up team, a top tier team of genius scientists and people on the research team. And it just so happens when Steven started asking Logan questions via text, Steven gave him 24 hours to respond and 3 hours before the deadline. And that's when the lawsuit was filed, which claimed to be about past coverage of Steven, but also suppresses his ability to cover him in the future. So it seems like a very conveniently timed lawsuit to prevent Steven, to literally limit him of his constitutional rights, to prevent him from looking into his sit. That's what it seems like, conveniently. It's a trap card, really. If we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, yeah, it's just like, oh, defamation lawsuit. Let's at least ride this money train for as long as possible before this gets investigated too, because this is going to be like Crypto Part 2, 2.0. New and improved. By the way, Liquid Marketplace is actually under investigation by Canadian authorities, and it's pretty tough to get under investigation by Canadian authorities for alleged fraud. It's a topic of massive public interest, and I would love some transparency, and I call any content creator who ingratiates themselves with fraud criminals to come clean if they are not a fraud criminal themselves. And instead of suing people who are detractors, aka haters, and limiting their First Amendment rights, you just be honest and take the L. Okay? Like, it's not that hard. So Liquid Marketplace thing, probably not a good look either. I'm sure if someone did some real actual research, they'd probably get sued with a SLAPP. I don't know, dude. It doesn't make sense to me that all this stuff keeps happening to YouTubers. And it's just, yeah, I don't care for it all that much. One of the main reasons the First Amendment is so sacred, and the reason I love it, is because it protects freedom of the press and it recognizes the essential role that talking shit has to play in holding powerful people accountable. Just because you have more money doesn't mean you can do whatever you want to do. Doesn't mean you can use that money to manipulate people en masse and steal money from them, even though you are rich and can pay a lawyer to sue people to make them shut up when they expose you. Like, that's kind of the whole point of that whole thing, is to like equal protections, 14th Amendment, all that. Also the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. So yeah, from this point on, I guess we just wait and see. Logan Paul can try and argue that he has no responsibility for the things that went wrong with CryptoZoo, even though he acknowledged it already once. And a thank you to Coffeezilla. He can say that it's been bad actors with the Liquid Marketplace, CryptoZoo, whatever. He can say that his genuine intentions were not corrupt and that they were in fact genuine all he wants. But he, once again, is the person who's providing these products to his consumer base and selling these scams that he's recognizing are not good after they've been pointed out that they're not good. And then he's like, well, it's not me doing it. So it's really weird. It's insane to me how much wrongdoing one of the most renowned creators' personalities can be associated with, and every step of the way make the wrong decision and just continue making wrong decisions even when the right decisions are proposed by the guy who's criticizing you, Coffeezilla. This dude has made it a cornerstone of his personality and reputation to say one thing and just do another thing. After the lawsuit, we learned that Logan does not care at all about repairing his image because that image is tarnished beyond belief, and everyone who likes him just has yet to hear about all this stuff, it seems like, and that's great. I mean, he's got the WWE promoting him, Mr. Beast, they're always collabing and stuff. You can go viral to a general audience quicker than your negative shit can go viral to like a really selective audience of people that actually care about, I don't know, scams and stuff. Seems like that's the case at least. By the way, CryptoZoo isn't the only nonsensical thing he's been involved in. How about Dick, or whatever it's called? Dig, what was it called? Dick? I forget. I can't find it. Dick. What were they called? They were like little dicks, weren't they? This guy's been everywhere. Why is this allowed? What the f? Can we get a psychologist to give a readout on Logan, please? I mean, he said he was gonna see him in court.
We're gonna handle this ourselves while we continue to build CryptoZoo, and I'll see you in court.
Apologized and said, you're right, you're good-hearted, Coffeezilla. Thank you for approaching this with a good heart and helping me expose this thing that I was, naive to. And then he's like, see you in court and defending it.
The fact is that suing Coffeezilla is not going to help CryptoZoo holders, so I do need to focus my attention where it should be, which is on fans and supporters of me.
Is he a psycho? I mean, let's get Shane Dawson on the fucking case. I have no idea, guys. The guy's full of false promises. 2 L's usually is a W, but it doesn't seem to be the case in this one. It's like five L's. And it's become a Star of David, whatever that means. Logan's full of false promises. The things that he says are not the things that actually happens. For example, he said he paid back a bunch of people. He definitely paid back some people, but he didn't pay back anyone who had zoo tokens. And that was one of the main things that Coffeezilla was calling out, because those were the losses, really. That was like the real crypto part of it, not the game part of it. Sure, I'll pay back everyone who lost money on these fucking dumbass NFTs, but I'll completely ignore the zoo token people. Yeah. Nice. Logan also said that he was going to remake CryptoZoo. I'm still waiting on that. And anyone who's still interested in the project could give it a go. A promise that was made quite literally years ago still isn't fulfilled. Can't be that hard to make that, whatever the fuck that is.
For the last 6 months, I've been working on my own NFT project. We have a massive team behind it and are probably out of pocket like $1 million.
A few hours later, I had a working game. You could hatch eggs to get animals of different rarities, breed those animals to make hybrids, burn cards to release their yield, and continue the real zoo's circle of life.
I'm not exactly a game developer, but I can't imagine that CryptoZoo is very difficult when it comes to, is it in Unity, or like what engine is this in? It doesn't look like that fun of a game, to be honest. It can't be that hard to finish. Maybe finding people that aren't fucking scammers to work on it is the hard part. Even in his little interview that he wanted scrubbed off the internet, he brought up, by the time it was up, CryptoZoo 2.0 would be down and out. All right, guys?
By the time this comes out, it'll be done. The game's gonna be made. You're gonna have the opportunity to get your money back if you want, if you don't wanna play the game. And I'm gonna take care of the people who made me look like this was a scam perpetrated by me.
Right. Logan wants to sue me and release a finished CryptoZoo game, but he's only done one of those.
Lies after lies, more lies, straight up false promises. Everything is fake, nothing is real. He walks around flashing money. He's a rich billionaire guy. It's a $1.2 billion deal. The guy's rolling in dough, and he's just such a piece of shit, and he has no excuses to be as big of a piece of shit as he is. And Mike, come on, Mike. Quit glazing and call the man out. He's the 2 cardinal sins: greed and pride. Still though, I want to play CryptoZoo. Let's get the fucking game made. Why is it not being made? According to Coffeezilla, Logan said that the US government is the one stopping him because of regulatory hurdles. To be really specific, but also general.
He says releasing CryptoZoo has too many regulatory hurdles. Maybe they should have thought of that before multi-millions of dollars of zoo tokens and eggs were sold. And now Logan would rather blame the government than take accountability.
Who cares about regulatory hurdles though when you just want a quick paycheck? If it doesn't involve a game, there's no such thing as regulatory hurdles. So yeah, the only way for Logan to win is to just throw an unlimited amount of money at Coffee until he cannot fight back anymore, until he shuts up, because that's what, the only thing Logan Paul has is just a lot of money. At this point, he has no respect from anybody outside the WWE, it seems like, and people who like Prime, and he's just losing it more and more and more and more and more by the day. I love second chances, dude. I love second chances, but like, it's just not gonna happen on the internet, unfortunately. So, you know, and the best way to go forward, I guess, for him is to just sue people. He's already the villain. He's just kind of accepting that role, it seems now. He's the heel, as they say in the WWE. Anyways, fellers, comment down below. Do you ever think Logan Paul will ever stop? I think it's a simple fix from my perspective. Okay, do you guys, if Logan Paul did this, how would you feel? All right, if he paid back all of the victims of Crypto Zoo and just kind of, you know, made like a little charity thing, put $1 million in it, $2 million even, not even 1% of his total net worth, and then gave money to the hungry or figured out some kind of charitable venture, paid back everyone on Crypto Zoo, and, you know, made like a large statement, just explaining everything, basically, and admitting to mistakes, whatever. I don't know if that would kind of implicate him and make him go to jail or something, so maybe that's why he's not doing it. I'm not sure. But just owning up to all that stuff and sort of admitting everything and just saying, I would love to move on. And I genuinely have a lot of respect for Coffee, and his journalistic integrity and ethics are very important to me. The only thing that I care about is not just money, even though it might seem like that. And yeah, let's go get that belt, guys. What would you guys feel about that? Would you go buy a Prime? Also, he would probably say this: I promise not to scam you all with NFTs ever again. Not that I ever did, but I promise to never hire people around me ever again. I'm just an infant. I'm a baby. I'm a baby. Anyways, go fuck yourself. Go to the Gump Club, sign up, become a member, get free shipping on Sour Boys. Go to sour.gg, buy some little guys, buy the new flavors we drop every single week, guys. And yeah, I guess hold people accountable for their actions and be willing to forgive if they, you know, deserve to be forgiven, I guess. Forgive and forget, live and turn the other cheek, you know, stuff like that. But also, you got to hold people accountable.